There is wisdom that is only born in the midst of chaos. It's easy to be thankful when everything is going well, when your paycheck is paid, your health is up to date, and your relationships are flowing like a calm river. But it's in the sleepless nights, the no's that hurt and the doors that close, that the soul learns to stand up stronger. The wise person begins to realize that every fall has a hidden purpose, like a teacher in disguise, who appears uninvited but always leaves a valuable lesson. Have you ever noticed how, after a fall, you step more carefully? Struggles shape character like fire shapes iron, with heat and pressure. Anyone who has faced unexpected unemployment and had to reinvent themselves knows what I'm talking about. Anyone who has experienced betrayal and learned to trust again, but this time with more wisdom, carries a kind of strength that can't be learned in books. That's why it's worth being grateful, even for what seemed like punishment at the time. Instead of asking, "Why me?" try asking, "What's the point?" This simple mindset adjustment turns pain into construction. And you know what's funny? Often, the greatest victories come from the greatest struggles. That person who was rejected for a job can end up setting their own business. Someone who has experienced anxiety can become a support for others, all because they had to face something that seemed bigger than them. Want a simple practice? Take a notebook and write down 3 difficult situations you've overcome. Next to them, write down what you've learned from each one. It sounds silly, but you'll be surprised at what you discover about yourself. And in this, a gratitude is born that doesn't depend on circumstance. Praise not only for blessings, but also for challenges. Most people have learned to give thanks only when they receive something good, a gift, a promotion, a happy surprise. But what about when everything gets out of hand? When the car breaks down during rent week or the relationship falls apart without warning? True praise begins when we decide not to depend on circumstances for peace. A mature person learns to say thank you, even when their heart is tight, because they understand that growth comes from discomfort, not from the comfort zone. Therein lies a secret that transforms the way we live. Praising challenges doesn't mean enjoying the pain, but trusting in the purpose it can serve. It's like when an athlete trains with weights. The discomfort is part of the evolution. Think of a musician learning a new instrument. His fingers hurt at first, but he persists because he knows the beautiful sound that comes afterwards. It's the same with life. Praising at this time is like watering a seed before you see any sign of green sprouting from the ground. It's faith in the root before the flower. If you want to practice this, try starting the day by giving thanks for whatever is challenging you right now. Just do that. It's small, but powerful. Many people see praise as something that only happens in church or at prayer time, but it's also in the way you face Mondays, the times you choose to smile even though you're tired, or when you decide to try again after failing. Praise is a lifestyle. It's like a pair of glasses that make you see beauty even in the rough. You know that friend who seems to see the good in everything. They've probably learned to praise in battles, not just in victories, and perhaps without realizing it, they're more prepared than you think to deal with what lies ahead. It is in difficulties that character is shaped and faith is refined. Character is not shown when everything is going well, but when things go wrong. It's easy to appear calm when no one contradicts you, or to stick to your principles when no one tests you. But true steadfastness comes when you decide to keep your word, even when it's easier to give up. And it doesn't happen by magic. It happens in small daily decisions, like when someone treats you badly and you respond with respect. Or when you have the chance to cheat and you choose to do the right thing. At those times, without fanfare, your character is being sculpted. Faith is not built on certainties, but on doubts. Real faith begins when you see no way out, but you still choose to carry on. A simple example? That mother who, even though she doesn't know how she's going to pay the bills for the month, continues to believe that it's going to work out. Or the young person who is lost about their future, but still gets up every day and tries one more time. At such times, the heart is tested, and it is in this test that faith ceases to be a theory and becomes a root. If you want to strengthen yours, read The Shack or Man in Search of Meaning. These are books that turn keys in your mind and spirit. And look, there's a curious thing about these refinement processes. They're rarely beautiful while they're happening. Nobody likes to be polished, but it's like a diamond. It needs to be pressed, cut, polished. Only then does it shine. It's the same for you. Are you going through something difficult right now? Then know this. This could be the very moment when your faith is being purified and your character is taking on a new shape. And that's exactly where the next part of the journey begins. The scriptures show us that even pain has a purpose. Romans 5:3-4 teaches us that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance, approved character. When the struggle comes, the natural heart wants to complain, but the spirit trained in the word begins to discern that there is a divine teaching hidden there. Gratitude in struggles is not born of comfort, but of the awareness that God is present even in the midst of the storm. Paul and Silas, imprisoned and chained, sang praises, not because prison was pleasant, but because they knew that God would use that dark night to set many free. Mature gratitude looks at pain and says, even though I don't understand, I trust. And it is in this spirit that we begin to see something beyond the apparent suffering. It's easy to give thanks when everything is going well. When bread is on the table, the body is healthy, and life seems to go along at a peaceful pace. But there is spiritual maturity that is only born in the valleys, in the losses, in the days when everything crumbles on the outside, but something begins to build on the inside. The word says in 1 Thessalonians 5:18, "In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God." It's not a call to deny pain, but to recognize it as fertile soil for growth. When a Christian understands this, even tears gain purpose. Job's life is a living testimony that pain is not the end of the story. He was allowed to pass through the fire, not because God had abandoned him, but because there was something deeper to reveal, something that could only emerge in the heat of affliction. "Once I knew you only by hearing, but now my eyes see you." Job 42:5. This verse carries a powerful truth. Struggles teach us to see God more clearly, and often it is in the silence of the downcast soul that God's voice sounds clearest, most intimate, most transformative. David, even though he was anointed king, spent years on the run, facing deserts and caves, and it was in these unlikely places that he wrote the most profound psalms, the ones that strengthen us today in difficult times. When we understand that every cave has a purpose, our hearts are calmed. Gratitude begins to flourish not because of what we feel, but because of what we believe, that all things work together for good. Romans 8:28. And when we learn to be thankful even for scars, it's a sign that something new is brewing inside us, something that paves the way for the next great lesson. Now tell me, how long are you going to see struggle as an enemy and not as God's tool to make you stronger? The Bible is full of men and women who flourished in the desert, not in comfort. Joseph, thrown into prison unjustly, became governor. Moses, fleeing into the desert, became the liberator of a nation. And Jesus, it was by his pains that we were healed. So, what are you doing with your pain? Are you complaining about them? Or are you letting God use them to transform you? Maybe it's time to stop running away from what's bothering you and start asking, Lord, what do you want to teach me about this? What decisions have you been putting off because you're waiting for the perfect scenario? What lessons have you not yet learned from the falls you've experienced? When you begin to give thanks for your struggles, your heart aligns with heaven and extraordinary things begin to happen in the ordinary. So take a deep breath, put the pain in God's hands, and allow yourself to grow with it. And if this message spoke to you, let me know in the comments, which fight taught you the most about God? I want to read your story. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, because here we will continue to dive into truths that liberate, strengthen, and transform. Your journey isn't over yet. In fact, it's just beginning. Click on the next video. It's from God for you.